He's running for that 14th district seat. Good morning, Jason Zachary.
Hallerin, good morning, man. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Where are you this morning?
I am at Farragut Middle this morning, Hallerin. I'll be making my way to all the polls, but I started out at Farragut Middle, jump over to the high school shortly, and then make my way to Bluegrass Lots and Rocky Hill.
All right, so for people who don't know, if you have to live in the 14th district to vote in this election today, and I've just been trying to be, nuts and bolts, and then we'll get into the issues. What are the precincts in that district?
Yes, sir. It's Farragut High School, Farragut Middle, so it's Farragut and Concord, and then you've got Bluegrass Lots, Rocky Hill West, and then Mount Olive, which I think the election commission told me I think they've got 16 voters registered in Mount Olive. But it's those areas. So if you're in any one of those areas, you are eligible to vote today in this election.
All right. So you've been out. We just talked to Karen Carson. She said she talked to a lot of people, and I know you've been talking to a lot of people. Tell me what your campaign experience has been like in the last couple of weeks.
This has been what you hear about, just your grassroots door knocking, phone calling campaign. Now, my last experience was very much event driven. This has been very different. I mean, this has just been sweat equity, maximizing every second that you have to connect with voters. And it's been enjoyable and very enjoyable in a different way, Alan. I'm a little different in the fact that I love the campaign process because every door you knock on, every phone call you make, you have the opportunity to learn from somebody else. I love Dale Carnegie's line about everybody is your superior in some way. You can always learn something from somebody else, and that's truly every opportunity to have to meet with business owners or just knocking on doors, talking to people. It was last night in a condo community, speaking with some elderly people inviting us in. My son was with me and my wife, and just talking, and they want to invest in you as much as you want to invest in them. And so it really gives you the opportunity to hear from the community and really understand what's important.
So what have people told you is important?
Hallerin, what I'm hearing is it is time for conservatives to stand. It is time for us not to back down. It is time for us not to waver. We find ourselves in a mess on a national level, and for most people that transcends down to the state, the local. They see what happens on the federal, and they just project that over all levels of government. Now, Tennessee has run really well since the Republicans have taken the majority in 2010. The state has really taken some great steps forward, but we can always do better. And so when you meet people of all ages, but especially those seniors who have seen so much in their lifetime, they're extremely concerned, and they want people who are going to stand up, not back down, not compromise on those constitutional core values and principles that our nation was founded on. And they want to see people do that on the federal and the state level. They don't want the expansion of government. They don't want the expansion of Medicaid. They don't want a gas tax. They want teachers not having to teach to the test. They want their grandchildren to have the same educational opportunity, that outside-the-box creative opportunity that they have. And so you go around, and it's more than just specific issues. It's just a feeling that we're losing that constitutional fabric of our country because we've allowed ourselves as constitutional conservatives, those of us who are, to allow it to be watered down. And we need people who are willing to stand on those principles and stand firm.
About 2,500 people have voted in early voting in this election. Have you guys done any exit polling around early voting?
We have not done exit polling. We have polled, but we didn't do exit polling at the early voting because it was so sparse. Really, it just wasn't the best use of resources. I did hang out at the polls some during early voting, but I mean, you could stand there for 45 minutes to an hour and not see anybody come in, and so it wasn't the best use of our time. We have done polling, but no exit polling at the early voting stations. But we do know, based on the doors that we knocked on and pulling the list of voters and those who did it for early vote, we touched 78% of the people that did early vote. We do know that.
Do you have an idea from your polling where you are going into today's election day?
Hallerin, we feel really good about where we stand right now. Yes, sir.
Is there a number?
Hallerin, there are numbers. We'll let the people know those numbers at 8 o'clock officially. I love it.
I love it too. I said, are there numbers? I love it. Jason Zachary, so what are you telling people that you're going to go to Nashville to do? Because the governor has an agenda, and he's a popularly elected governor, and Ron Ramsey and Beth Harwell, there are not a lot of things that happen in Nashville because they get in, get out, and get it done.
Right, that's right. And I'm glad you brought that up. The important thing about any elected position is being a voice of the people. I'm going to if I have the opportunity to serve, I'm going to represent and be a voice for the people here in the 14th district. I'm not going to represent Governor Haslam's agenda, Ron Ramsey, whomever. I'm going to represent the people of the 14th. And it's been odd because the last week or so, it has been spun that somehow I'm against the governor and I'm going to Nashville to be against his agenda, which couldn't be further from the truth. I've said consistently, I said it on your show when you had us on a couple of weeks ago. The governor, he's a believer in Christ. We have that comedy, man of integrity. He's done a great job for the state economically. He's made great education strides. Are there areas we disagree on? Absolutely. But there's areas my wife and I disagree on. And so part of leadership is being able to find that common ground, being able to work together, just like Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, because divisiveness does nothing. And so it's been painted by publications here in the area that somehow this is me running against him. I'm not running against anybody. I'm running for the people of the 14th district. And I look forward to working with Governor Haslam. I think I'll have the opportunity to meet him on Friday morning at the Botanical Gardens dedication. And I look forward to working with Speaker Harwell, Speaker Ramsey. I look forward to working with Roger Kane, Eddie Smith, and even some of the Democrats, finding that common ground and building on that. I mean, we've gotten to this point where everybody focuses on negative. Let's focus on what we agree on, build on that. We're not going to agree on everything, but if we disagree, we can disagree as adults respectfully and move forward from there.
All right, Election Day in Farragut for this 14th District House seat. Jason Zachary, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you and Ms. Carson tomorrow morning.
Hallerin, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
All right, 8:30 on the